Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. And here is our latest Price Point edition. I'm Kevin Price with your Price Point edition. Do want to remind you, of course, you can catch me every day, Monday through Friday, on The Price of Business on Business Talk 1110 AM in Houston, Texas, and of course over at usdailyreview.com. Well, Governor Rick Snyder of Michigan has dominated the news line with his decision to go ahead and sign a sweeping right-to-work legislation into law in the state of Michigan. No one ever thought that Michigan would ever possibly become a right-to-work state. And to me, it displays a leadership style that was really very effective for Rick Snyder. And I like to compare him with Scott Walker of Wisconsin, who's also something of a hero of mine, who has been working very hard to get the cost of labor under control in order to create a business environment where businesses want to go. Before I get into that, though, in that comparison, let me just briefly explain what it means. Going from a closed union shop state, which is what Michigan is today, means that to a right-to-work state, means that now employees in Michigan will get to choose whether or not they join a union when they begin to work for a company. That's absolutely huge on several levels. First of all, that means that it'll be a friendlier environment for business going in. Business owners know that they won't have to overwhelmingly deal with a union problem just because they moved into a state. Second of all, that forces the unions to be more competitive in order to keep and attract potential members. And so I think it's huge for the Michigan economy. When you look at the 10 most prosperous states of the union, all but one of them are what they call right-to-work states. Meanwhile, if you look at the bottom 10, all of them are closed union shop states. Right-to-work tends to mean prosperity. Now, Scott Walker ended up being an incredible hot water in his efforts to get unions, particularly education unions, under control. He was confrontational, very strong, made him a darling of conservatives like myself. I think he's awesome. But it led to a lot of trouble. On the other hand, Rick Snyder, the governor of Michigan, took a much more quiet approach. He came out and said, I don't have any intention to promote right-to-work legislation. That didn't mean he wasn't going to sign right-to-work legislation if it became passed by the legislature. He just wasn't going to make that a legislative priority of himself. And so he let that work happen somewhere else. The Senate in Michigan, acting very prudently, decided to fast-track legislation for right-to-work. They decided, I think sometime early last week, by Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to go for it. They announced we're going for it. We're going to have a vote in the Senate on Thursday. It passed overwhelming on Thursday. They put it on what they call a fast track, which means it could be considered by the House. 5 business days later, it passed this week in the House, and it went straight to the governor's desk, who signed it into law. And he did it without fanfare. He did it without lecturing. He did it in a very quiet but very profoundly powerful sort of way. Now, and in many respects, in fact, some magazines and news sites are calling him the Scott Walker of 2014. In other words, a potential presidential contender. Maybe, who knows? All I know is he's done substantial reforms. This isn't the first. This is one of many substantial pro-economic growth reforms that Governor Snyder has done. And it seems like the best leadership in the country today is in those governors like the Scott Walker and the Rick Snyder, both with very similar philosophies but very different styles. I'm Kevin Price.
This is Andy Valadez, marketing strategist for Marketing Dynamics, Chief Marketing Officer of EBC Broadcast, the entrepreneur broadcasting company. Thank you for listening to the Price Point Edition with award-winning media personality Kevin Price. We hope you enjoy this format and leading-edge editorial where business and politics do mix. Our media platform represents a dynamic convergence and integration of media where we not only feature leading insight on the radio, but also the video at usdailyreview.com, priceofbusiness.com, ebcbroadcast.com, youtube.com, and via our video syndication technology partners, and via weekly press releases, blogs, social media, and RSS feeds. If you would be interested in positioning your company with active conservative audiences and thought leadership communities to engage in what America's talking about at the virtual water cooler, then contact us, 713-560-3348. That's 713-560-3348. or at andy@ebcbroadcast.com. Rarely will one find a more cutting-edge media platform like this, and we're excited to bring you the best of politics, news, technology, commentary, and business via the Price Point Edition with Kevin Price. This programming was brought to you by ParcelandPostPlus.com, AIStudioOnline.com, and TeamMarketingDynamics.com.